Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Chapter 10 video. This one has a little different than what we've done to this point, but we're going to do example 10.1 and 10.2, which are both very similar. And part of this, we're going to be calculating the statistics, the MSE, the MAD, and the MAPE. And instead of having you type in the whole formula for those, I've created a kind of like a cheat sheet that you can use to make it a much more simpler process for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just get started. We'll jump in. And as usual, I'm going to start this with a clean sheet. So here is the Chapter 10 data file we're using. You see it just has 2 columns of data. So just copy this, and I've got a new blank workbook up. But what I want you to do is go ahead and create 4 sheets down here. You'll see, because we're going to do 2 examples in one Excel file, but we're going to do them under different tabs. Okay, so go ahead and paste this here. Paste it in 1 and 3, because we're going to be doing this twice. We're going to be doing 2 different methods of the same thing. We'll just rename them this example. And then we'll call this one example 10.2. All right. And then what I want you to do is go into Canvas and download the example file. It's the one that has this title, example 10.1 and 10.2 worked. Okay, so do that and then come over here and you'll see I got this long formula spreadsheet here. So go ahead and copy that. And then let's go back into the one we're playing with and paste this into sheet 2. And just, well, yeah, just go ahead and paste. Yeah. And then copy the same, paste the same thing into sheet 4. Hold on. Okay, so it looks like I pasted these into the wrong thing. So let me just copy these real quick. So 10.1. Okay, so example 10.1 and example 10.2, these should have your just your raw data. And then sheet 2 and sheet 4 should have the formulas I just showed you. So again, copy those out. It's in the Chapter 10 module tab. And you don't want to type those in, trust me. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to go ahead and do our forecasting. So these instructions are on page 353. It's not that hard at all. So just go to, let's see, data analysis, and then go to moving average, hit OK. And then you see, I already have all my numbers in here. So for input range, put, column B. Make sure you click labels. 3, you put 3 here because we're doing a 3 rolling average, as it explains there. Here, you can leave $D, $3, but let's put D3. We're using D3 because this is going to start doing our first prediction on the 4th one of these. So we want it to be in line. Okay, so in line with the actual data, our forecast, the corresponding day will be right next to it. Okay. And then click chart options. The book doesn't say to click chart options, but do that. Trust me, it'll make your life a lot easier on answering these questions. And that's pretty simple. So then hit OK. Okay. So now you see it puts your data here. And I like to go ahead and delete C. Now we could have just put it in C, but I was trying to stay similar to the book. And we'll see it starts making its prediction on day 4 because it needs 3 days to make its first prediction. So of these, we're only predicting for, 4 all the way down to 21. Next thing, here's a chart. Doesn't look like anything like one of the books. So what we need to do is change the vertical axis. So just click on the vertical axis, then right click, hit format axis. And I mean, you can use different numbers if you want to, but see how this goes from 0 to 400 and it makes it like unreadable. So come over here and make the minimum number 250, 260, whatever you want. What we're trying to do is get rid of this blank white space here. Okay, and then just put enter to that, and maybe you can make the chart a little bigger. And then now we see how this isn't exactly like the one in the book. Like you probably have to stretch it out more this way. But you see it's getting close to that, where the actual is the blue line with the peaks we're talking about. And the forecast, we see this is much more, I hate to use the word straight, but it doesn't have the severe ups and downs, okay, that we see from the original one. Let's see. Okay, and so forth. All right. So that's the first part of this is creating the graph and doing the forecast. Um, let's see. I'm just looking at some other stuff over here. We're going to see what it actually asks you today. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so it one part of it asks you, like part C, what would the 22nd day look like? What would the forecast be? So as we see here, it's going to be 320.67. So in the book, they do the calculation by hand, but here we're just letting the Excel do the work for us. But anyway, A, here's our forecast. That answers that one. B, here's our graph. C, here is the answer to day 22. And the next thing it's asking us for are the fit indices. Okay, so the MSE, MAD, and MAPE. And if you look at those calculations on page 351, it's pretty involved. Okay, so what I want you to do before we click over is starting with grab four, grab observation or day 4 through 21. We're not taking the first three because we don't have a forecast day. Okay, so just remember that when you're doing this, only the ones that we forecast. So copy these, and we're gonna go over here to sheet 2. Now here, I found this online, but I had to change it around a lot for it to work in our class. Um, what we're going to do is just paste information in these yellow ones. But if you see over there, like over here, since we don't have the first three, we only have 18 rows of information. So what we need to do is get rid of a couple of these. Okay, so the data will fit. So let's just go ahead and delete this one. And you, for whatever, you're always going to have to adjust this to the size of your data. Okay. Now you want to paste what you just copied in here, but when you go to paste, hold on. Of course, it's not doing it for me now. Okay. You want to see how it gives you different paste options. You want to paste the values. Okay. And see, you saw how it changed all the formulas, right? So you don't mess with any of this stuff over here. Please don't, because I just went through and fixed everything. So it'll work for what we're doing in our class. But here at the bottom, you see it calculates our MAD, which is 11.85, according to the book, MSE to 208.9. Okay. And then it even gives you the RMSE, but we're not using that for this thing. And then 3.92 if you round for the MAPE. So again, these are all the calculations you would have to do to get all these numbers if you did it with the formulas, if we typed it in like we normally do. But what I did, I went in here and found something online and tinkered with it to get it so it'll work for our class. And you can use this to calculate these things as long as you adjust the number of time periods over here to match, what we have as far as number of rows of data. Okay, so example 10.2, this one we are doing the exponential smoothing. So about the same thing as before, data analysis, click exponential smoothing this time, hit OK. And you see the only difference between this, our input range is still, all column B, make sure you click labels, but it says to use a dampening factor of 0.2. right? Or what is it, alpha, whatever it's given. So to do that, you have to take 1 minus whatever your dampening factor is. So we're putting in 0.8 since our dampening, since the factor we're using, the smoothing series, is going to be 0.2. So we put 1 minus whatever factor we're using. So in this example, we're using 0.2, and we're going to put 0.8 in there. The output range, we're using D2 this time, and you could put C2, which I probably should do that, but I'm just going to do it like the book for now. D2, and again, the reason we're using D2 is so that the forecast is next to the day it's forecasting. Because with the smoothing technique, we don't forecast day 1, but we forecast day 2 all the way down, okay? So that's why we're putting in a D2. Click chart output. That will give you the chart. You don't have to make it yourself. And then hit OK. Okay, so here, again, same thing with the chart here. We're going to have to adjust this to, maybe like 250 to whatever. 250 to 350. And that makes it a little cleaner. And then if you want to, you can kind of drag it out, make it bigger. So then this approximates more what the book has as far, but you see how this is a lot smoother, especially the forecast line, because we're using a different method for this. Okay. Let's see. And if you wanted to do day 22 on this one, see, I just copied that down. I think that should give you day 22. On that one. Yeah. So that was just easy to copy that formula down because it's pulling from the day before, so we can do an extra day. No problem. Okay, so now, as before, I would just go ahead and delete this column, and now you got your data next to each other, right? So you're going to copy this, go to sheet 4. It's already in there for this one because this is one we had. So just paste that in here. All your formulas will change, and that'll give you the answers to your MAD, MSE, and MAPE, okay, by using these formulas. But again, only put data in the yellow and make sure you do the paste special for values because you don't want to paste formulas in here. It'll throw everything off because over here, you see this column here is a formula. You don't want the formulas in there. It's going to throw everything off. Just cut and paste the values. And you see with this one, we have 2 more. We got 20 observations because it's only time period 1 we can't predict over here because you see this is our NA, we just had 1. We're in example 10.1, we didn't start predicting till number 4. Okay, so just that's why we have a different number of rows. All right, so that's how you do the chapter 10 examples, and both of these are in the same Excel file, so you'll see them there instead of split up into 2 since they're so similar. Thank you very much.